American Man Radio with your host, Joe Lyles.
Here is the question. This is the weird question. This is the question that nobody ever asks. What exactly is government? What is it? Right, you hear the conservatives are always talking about, government is the problem. The problem is government. What do you mean by, what do you mean, what is government? This guy was talking about how this anarcho-syndicalists are leftist anarchists, and anarcho-capitalists are right-wing anarchists. Anarcho-capitalists believe that, we'll just have voluntary free trade. We don't need government. You've got your trading post out somewhere in the woods, out in the wilderness, like they had back in this country 200 years ago. Does anybody ever come by your trading post and stick you up? Walk in with their 6 guns, stick them up, bubba. Does that ever happen? Oh, well, it happened all the time. Yes, people could stick you up, and it happened all the time. So, well, what do you do about that? How do you keep yourself from being stuck up? Well, you might want to own some weapons. Because I'm going to tell you something. Let me show you something about voluntary free trade. Well, we're just going to voluntarily trade. In order for you to trade and exchange in this peaceful exchange of goods, the peaceful exchange of goods is created by organized violence. You have to be able to withhold your stuff from the marketplace. You've got a general store in the middle of the Mojave Desert. Just so happens you've got a well, and you've got water flowing out of your well, and here comes some dude crawling out of the desert. Who knows how he got out there, but he's been out there. He's been lost in the desert for a couple of days, and he comes crawling out of the desert, and he says, "Water! Water!" And you, being the capitalist that you are, say, "Sure, no problem. How much money you got?" "I'll just take all the money you have in exchange for my water." And you say, "Well, that's gouging me." You don't have to take it. I'm free to withhold my water from you, and if you don't want to pay it, well, you can die of thirst. It's up to you. Where's the free and voluntary exchange there? They don't ever get around to explaining that. A lot of your trade is not free and voluntary. Most of the stuff you buy, you need. And the reason that people can withhold them, unless you give them whatever it is they want, and sometimes you're over a barrel and they can gouge you. And the thing that enables them to gouge you is the police force. It is the organized violence that says that you can trade or we can fight. We can fight about it, and I'm armed, and you're armed, and let's, and that's one of the deterrents to highwaymen robbing your trading post is maybe he's got a gun. The next deterrent is he may have a gun, and even if we can defeat him in battle and take his stuff, there's a police force, there is a posse comitatus, there is a justice system that will hunt us down. And this is the deterrent, the armed force. And that's what government is. That's what government is. That's where government comes from. This guy talks about, we can just have private police forces. Oh, well, they used to. They used to have private police forces. There was a landowner, and he owned all the land in the surrounding area. How did he own the land? Well, the king gave it to him. It was called feudalism. And it was basically a private police force where the local governing system, the system that governed the entire nation, the entire nation was basically private property. The nation belonged, it was the king's private property. And the king divvied his private property up to his lieutenants, called dukes and earls. And then they owned private property, and then they had an armed force that enforced their rights. And if you didn't own any of those rights, then you were a serf, and you had to work on the land, and you were there at his sufferance. And but you could live there, and you could extract enough out of his grain that you grew for him. You could take enough of that so you could eat, barely. And that's what anarcho-capitalism will turn into, is feudalism. Or we can organize ourselves as democracies, which we have managed to do, which we did in this country. We organized a democracy, and as a part of the democracy, we decided to use, are you ready? Here's the word, mercenaries. We decided to use mercenaries to protect everybody's various rights. And those mercenaries wind up protecting the rights of people who don't even live in your community. They live on the other side of the country. The plain truth is that a democracy ought to also have a militia. That part of voting is also defending your society and defending your country and defending and providing for the common defense. But we don't do that anymore. We don't all participate in providing for the common defense. We contract it out to mercenaries. The results have not been very good. I say let's fire those mercenaries.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. You've been listening to Working Man Radio with Joe Lyle at joelylesradio.com.